Halloween edition of the Success Blueprint. We're here with Tyler Porter of Porter Pro today. We're excited to have him on. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And we're going to go over just some things of what's obviously made you successful and what you see in your businesses, because you work with a ton of businesses in town and probably out of town, I assume.
Yep.
Cool. So I guess, first of all, tell me what got you into media. I mean, what got you into this originally?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it kind of started for me in high school. I took a photography class, which I really liked. But then from there, I wanted to do more with it. And so I got involved with the broadcasting club in high school and ended up being kind of the president of that. And me and my friends were just making a bunch of different videos, snowboarding, skateboarding, just whatever we could do.
Did you grow up here?
Yes.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. So I went to Hillcrest here in town. And so I went from there, and I kind of fell in love with it. And I went to film school after that in Orlando, Florida. Ended up moving back here. Didn't have any intention to stay in Idaho Falls, especially at that time. There just wasn't much opportunity in this space, right? But I started dating my wife, which kept me here.
Okay.
Then I started working as kind of like a marketing manager at a few different places internally for different companies, and then just realized there was a huge need for good content mixed and paired with good marketing practices. So I ventured out on my own back in 2016, and here we are today.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how have you grown over the last, 8-9 years, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, it just started out with me and my wife kind of in our spare bedroom at our house.
Okay.
We had a few clients, just people that we knew initially. We brought on our first employee about 9 or 10 months after I quit my full-time job and just focused on Porter Pro after that. So 9 months in, we hired our first employee, and it just kind of kept growing from there pretty quickly. Got our first office and built up from there. Now we're in a completely new space, and there's 24 of us today.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. So is your wife in media as well then?
She is. So she's a photographer.
Okay.
She used to do a lot of like wedding photography and different things like that. She kind of got burnt out on the whole wedding photography thing. There was one year she had, I think it was 44 weddings that she shot in a single year.
No way.
And it was just too much.
Wow.
Then we had kids. And so she still does it. She mostly does like family photos and like senior photos and just, kind of portrait stuff. But mostly like with friends and family and people that she had worked with in the past. So she doesn't like really put herself out there per se. But she's very talented with that. And she helps with some of the stuff we do at Porter Pro as well when she can. And she was very heavily involved before kids. Right now we still have a kid that's in preschool. So it's not like he's at school all day long, right? We have a girl that's in second grade now. So she's in school full time. So as soon as our youngest Jack is in school full time, she'll probably get more involved with the Porter Pro stuff as well.
That's awesome.
So how many clients, I mean, all over, like Jason said, you have local clients, you have, we've talked, you have clients clear across the nation.
Yeah.
What's the furthest client you have?
That's a good question. We have clients in New York. We have clients in Massachusetts, Florida. So all over the East Coast as well as West Coast. We probably cover, if I were guessing, 30 of the 50 states we have clients in. We've done a good amount of traveling. I mean, we back in 2020, right before COVID hit, we flew out to Australia to shoot some content. We've been all over Europe to shoot content. So we've kind of been all over the world, but yeah, our clients are pretty much all US based. But we have clients that have an international presence beyond just the US as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's what's fun following you. Social media is, I mean, there's from guns to shower.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah. It's, I mean, what is, I guess, maybe some more unique clients you have?
That's a great question. Unique. One of them, like you just mentioned, was their name's Buuna. So they were just on Shark Tank. They make a product that converts a single shower head into a double shower head. They've been a lot of fun to work with. One of the founders is based in Israel. So when we meet with them, it's usually the middle of the night for him. The other's in Seattle. They're both engineers at Amazon and came up with this idea. So that one's been unique just because it's presented challenges that we haven't had to deal with in the past, where they wanted to do some robotic shots, and we just couldn't figure out a way to make it work actually in someone's shower.
Right.
So we had to build an entire shower set in our studio, a fully functioning shower with warm water, because we had to bring models in to do that. So it presented some unique challenges, but we like the challenge. It's fun. It mixes things up and makes us kind of think outside of the box a little bit more. So, I mean, that's one that comes to mind, but we've worked with clients from every industry you can basically think of.
Right. That's awesome. Like, so, I mean, when you're not shooting steamy shower scenes and recording with the best real estate team in Idaho Falls,
obviously,
how, like, talk about your growth a little bit. How many? So, how many employees do you have?
24, I want to say, full-time employees today.
So 24 full-time employees, starting 9 years ago. I mean, I know 9 seems a long time for some people, not a long time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So what's some of the challenges that you've seen, like just growing a business and I talk a lot about your culture and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously growth comes with its challenges at the end of the day, right? And for me, the biggest challenge has been just really being able to make sure we have the right people in the right places and give them the autonomy to do their job well, right? I'm kind of a control freak. And so in the early days when it was me and even just a few employees, I was involved with everything, right? And I still try to be involved as much as I can be, but at the end of the day, we've got, right now I have people in the studio shooting a project for Beretta that makes the handguns, the 22 handgun that they're releasing. And so I have to be able to trust that our employees are going to step up and do a good job and reflect well on our business, right? And so just really finding the right people that I can trust to do the job and let go of some of that control that I've, for so long just held so tightly to it. And being able to learn, there are people that are more talented than me out there that I employ and they do a great job, and I just need to let them spread their wings and do their job. And we've had employees in the past too that we've had to let go that just couldn't step up and do what we needed them to do. And that's a tough thing too. And I'm sure you guys have dealt with that. It's like you hire someone on and you're like excited about it, and then you can't make someone do their job at the end of the day. And if they're not going to show up and push themselves to be better, they just don't fit in our culture. We're a bunch of self-starters, motivated people that just want to get the job done well. And we try to move quickly and put our best. So in order to do that, I've got to align myself with people that have that same mindset.
Do you have a mission statement, values? Like Jason and I, we just came up with our, with all of that, our mission statement and our values and different things that, we're going to really work hard on this next year to make sure that everyone follows that, to keep that culture going. I mean, is that something, I guess, how do you establish your culture? How do you push that culture?
And I think that's a tough thing. I think it's easy to say like, oh, we've got this great culture but to actually practice what you preach, it can be very difficult. And I think there's stages to it as well. Like what worked when it was just 5 employees isn't what worked with 10 employees. And the same thing with 20. Like we've had to reshape that constantly based on where we're at. And so we're actually right now in the process of kind of reshaping kind of what is our vision statement, mission statement, what kind of businesses do we want to work with? What are we trying to do? What do we specialize in? Because, the market shifts, especially in marketing, things change constantly and we have to kind of shift with that. But also just the more employees we bring on and the bigger we grow, it changes the business, right? And so we've constantly, like every few years, we've had to kind of reevaluate, is this who we still are? Is this our core identity? Or do we need to shift that slightly, right?
And is that focused on, so when you do that and you go into that process, is that something like, okay, who do we need to be now? Or is that who have we become?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? Okay. It's like, who are we? And is that who we want to be? And is that who we want to be 5 years from now, right?
Yeah.
And it's been an interesting process because who we were 9 years ago is not who we are today, right? Of course. And we've learned a lot along the way, and we've learned at what we really excel at and what we don't excel at. And we've had to part ways with certain clients that just don't align with what we do. Yeah. And we've had to reduce certain services or offerings and add new offerings based on things we've discovered along the way. So I think it's one of those things you just constantly have to reassess. It's like what worked 9 years ago is not going to work today because things have changed, in the industry as a whole, but also we've changed as a business.
Yeah.
And we want to attract the right people to be able to keep growing the way we want to grow. And if we're, operating the same way we did 9 years ago, we're not going to get to where we want to be.
So so let's shift gears a little bit. So we've talked about your team, and we can come back to that. And then you talk about clients that maybe are not the right fit. When not clients that aren't the right fit, but what is your goal when you're working with a client? Like, so we know your goal with us, but like when you're working with clients, what do you see that helps businesses and companies grow, like from outside looking in, because you're looking at so many other businesses?
For us, it's really about aligning with people that are passionate about their business. We've worked with businesses before where it's just like a means of income for them, and they don't really care to work on the business, to grow their business, to reassess where they're at, right? It's just like they're comfortable with where they're at. And for us, like, that's great. If you're in that place, that's great, but that's not who we align with. We want people that want to look outside of the box, that want to grow. They're growth minded. They're willing to try new things. Because at the end of the day, like that passion that you guys feel for your business, we start feeling that as well. If you're passionate about your business, we're also going to be passionate about your business, right?
Makes sense.
And so really we try to just really align ourselves with passionate people that are willing to, put in some effort to helping their business grow and really establish who they are as a business.
I like that. So what is that kind of a common thread? You find that people that are more passionate about it are obviously finding more success?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people think like, throw an ad up here, throw an ad up there, and the people will be excited. And that's just not how it works, right? Like you have to be able to be willing to put in some effort, and not to say like, all your effort should go towards marketing. Like that's why you hire agencies like us to help you with that. But you have to be passionate about your business and really be really willing to put in the time to do it right.
That's awesome. Obviously, as you've grown, we've met most of your team.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great people. So how have you found those people? Are they all local? Are they not local? Is it like, what have you done to kind of weed out some of those?
Yeah. And that it actually is a tough thing because this isn't the most creative market, right? People don't come here thinking like, oh, I'm going to have a very super creative job and be able to, make these creative films and videos and things like that.
Yeah.
But, it's actually been interesting because we are one of the few, if not the only production agencies in this area that does what we do, right? And so I think we're able to attract some of the top talent that are going to, BYUI or ISU or wherever, or people that maybe grew up here, moved away for college, maybe have worked somewhere else, but want to end up back here.
Yeah.
We've been able to attract those people because, the lifestyle that we have here in Southeastern Idaho is attractive to some people, but if you want to be a creative mind and be able to do things in marketing or video production or, some of the things that we do, historically, this hasn't been the place to do it. And so I think we've been able to attract people that way. Not to say that that's easy and there's a lot to choose. Like you live in California and it's like everyone is in part of the creative industry in one way or the other, right? And that's just not the case here. But hiring hasn't been too difficult for us because of the fact that we are who we are and we're one of the only few that do it in this region.
Okay. That's pretty cool. So it's just kind of more taking those and weeding out who's going to be the best fit versus just a warm body to fill it. Hopefully they work out.
Correct. For us, we're really looking at, technical skills can be taught. And that's not a problem. We can teach people how to do just about anything that we do. But things like the drive and the passion and just the ability to think creatively and think outside of the box, that's something that can't be taught. So that's really what we assess more than anything when we're hiring someone.
How do you assess that? Is that through questioning? Is that through?
And there's only so much you can do to assess that. We try our best, but yes, it's really about asking the right questions, just really understanding who they are, the way they think, and making sure that kind of aligns with how we do things.
Okay.
Awesome.
That's awesome. So maybe in the last year or two, what's a company that you've seen that has just grown? Not obviously maybe you've helped them grow, but if there's one example that you can see where they've just really blown their company up, what have they done to help them get to that point?
That's a really good question. So I'll just use as an example that Buuna company that I was talking about, right?
Yeah.
And yes, we help them with their marketing, but they have some internal people that are doing some of their stuff as well. And I think for them, they just really have been trying to push things and think outside of the box and reassess constantly. Like, is the message we're putting out there actually working? Is it resonating with our audiences? Like to the point that they have a spreadsheet with all of their most viral videos. And really we dive into that and assess, why were these videos viral? Why did they get the engagement that they got? And really just understand who their audience is and what they want, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And so really, you know, at the end of the day, marketing isn't as complicated as people think it is. I mean, yes, it is complicated in the sense that we got to look at everything and understand who we're talking to. But when you boil it down, it's just us talking to other people, right? And the hardest part is really understanding, what do these people want to hear? What's going to make them act? What's going to make them excited, right? So it's really just understanding people at the end of the day. And I think people tend to overcomplicate marketing and think it's like, oh, if we just pull this trigger over here, just adjust this campaign over there. And it's like, yes, those things make a difference. But if at the end of the day, you don't know who you're talking to, nothing else is going to matter, right? And so it's just really understanding people and how to connect with them. And that is tough because today people are just flooded with ads, right? You go on social media and it's not just like, you're not just competing with people in your industry, you're competing with everyone that's advertising. You're trying to demand that attention from people, and their attention is being split 100,000 different ways, you know, anytime they're on social media, watching TV, whatever it may be. And so it's really about understanding what's going to cut through the noise and what's going to get people to engage and respond to what we're putting out there. So when I say it's not complicated, I mean, it's not complicated in the sense that it's not like some crazy algorithm or crazy thing that you need to put out there and that's going to make the difference. It's just really understanding people, which that part can be hard, but that's really what it is. And that's how you're going to win at the end of the day.
So
that changes too, right?
All the time. Yep.
Yeah.
So you talk about, I guess what companies that make themselves successful, passion, effort, you know, these different things. I'm sure culture plays into them. What are you seeing that makes companies fail? Like when you're working with a company and you're like, oof, you know, these guys looks like they're on a, you know, they're struggling or whatever.
You know, one of the biggest things that we see is when a company, from a marketing standpoint, I mean, I guess we could dive into this two different ways: business as a whole, but also from a marketing failure, right?
Right.
So looking at marketing specifically, the businesses that fail are the ones that don't understand their audience. They don't understand who they're talking to, and they try to force a message that isn't resonating with an audience, right? And so we've worked with people before where it's like, this is what we need to say. It's like, okay, we can try that, but at the end of the day, we need to listen to how people respond to that. Yeah. And unless we're willing to do that and be willing to change and be willing to examine that data and say, okay, what is it that people actually want to hear? You're going to fail every time, right? So it's the businesses that are stuck in their ways and they think they need to shout at their audience rather than listen to their audience.
That's one I guess I can relate to that, because as we have worked with you and your team, there's a lot of things that you have us do that's, one, not natural for us, two, outside our, like with our comfort, outside our comfort
you guys signed me up for this one. So.
And
Thanks for wearing the hat, by the way.
But we have, like, even the podcast, the last guest that was on, you know, we were talking about how he was mentioning, like, it's hard to get started. And we kept talking about it. And it was either, you know, Caleb or Tanner that was just finally like, hey, we're starting this date. We're going to be there.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay. And then we didn't have anybody. We were trying to figure out what to do. And then we even wanted to bump it again. And they're like, no, this is what we're going to do. So you have a knack of, I guess, knowing that. And so relating and back to like what you were saying about your audience and things like that, there's a lot of promo videos and things that we've cut that I've thought, like, this is different than what we've wanted, but we trust you because you understand, I guess, audiences, and we understand what our product is. And what I've liked is that you're a good bridge in between. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're like, you want to get there, you're overshooting your target and you're not hitting it. But if we can dial it back into this way, you know, it's just a whole nother perspective. And it's something that being able to work with you guys, I've learned a lot. Just like, okay, well, we're not doing it wrong. We're just not doing it accurately.
Yeah. And honestly, like, we are always going to put our best foot forward as well, but we are learning every day. And what works for you guys isn't necessarily what's going to work for another business at the end of the day, right? Yeah. Every business is unique. And so it's like really just understanding your audience and what actually moves the needle. And to do that, we've got to try new things. We got to test new things. We can't just get stuck in our ways and be like, this is how we're going to do it, and we're going to stick with it, right? You obviously want to stick with some things and give it enough time to understand, is this working or not? But you've got to be able to move quickly and pivot quickly if it's not working, right?
And I don't know if you preach this to your team at all, but they're pretty good about reeling us back in. So we'll bring something up and they'll be like, well, that's a good idea, but let's look at it this way, when it's really not a good idea. But they're good about just kind of shifting that a little bit to try to make it work.
Yeah, and I think it's all about having that collaborative effort. You guys understand your business and what you're trying to do much better than we do, but we also understand how to get that message in front of the right people and connect with that audience you're trying to connect with, right? And so going back a little bit where you're asking like what businesses, do we thrive with, and what businesses thrive are the ones that are willing to, work together, collaborate, and just look at things as a whole. And we trust you guys as the real estate experts. You trust us as the marketing experts, and that for us tends to work really well.
One thing that I guess I have a question is, when you're working with these different clients and different things, is there a similarity with all of the marketing and how you reach and everything that way? And then also maybe chat about all the different ways of marketing that you guys have. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not just video. You do photos. Anyway.
Yeah, that's a great question. And kind of backtracking a little bit. So really, people hate advertising. Most people don't go on they're not watching a TV show. They're not on social media to look at ads, with the exception of maybe the Super Bowl, right? Where people tune in to see the commercials. Yeah. That's one of the few times where people are actually paying attention. And so for marketing to work, you have to be more authentic. Like, people are tired of the obvious ads that people are putting out there. They don't want to be advertised to. They want to be able to relate to you as a business. They want to make sure they're working with someone they trust and they relate to. So the more as a business you can actually put yourself out there and come off as authentic, and not just like a save 50% today type of people are they tune that out. They don't pay attention to it, right? And that's going to be more and more prevalent as the Gen Z and everyone starts getting older and they have more buying power. Like, they want authentic companies that they can relate with. So you see these companies like Liquid Death or Scrub Daddy that are just doing the most outrageous things, but they understand their audience, and that's what their audience wants. And they have been so successful by just
crazy how much they've grown.
Yeah. I mean,
in what, 4 years?
Liquid Death's worth over $1 billion now, right? And they sell water. It's like the most basic of any product you can possibly think of. It's water, right? Yeah. But they did something different, and they understood their audience, and they went after that, and they doubled down on that, and people love them because they're authentic and they're doing something completely different that doesn't feel like you're just being advertised to. And so I think that's extremely important. So going back to your question, Morgan, like, what are different ways to advertise? For us, we call ourselves a content first agency. And so content can be video, it could be photo, it could be written content, design, all of those kind of things and encompass what we call content, right? But for us, our philosophy is like, if you can't put the right content out there and connect with your audience, you're going to lose every time. Like, you have to get them to pay attention to what you're doing. So you can have the best targeting techniques. You can have, be on these great platforms, but if your content doesn't connect with your audience, you're going to lose. They're not going to pay attention to it, right? So for us, it always starts with a good content strategy. You lost the mustache.
I did. I was fighting in the last 10 minutes. I'm just going to give up.
So it starts with the content. Like, what are we going to do to where people pay attention to this and it resonates with them, right? Yeah. Then from there, it's okay, how do we get it in front of the right people now? It's like, we've got the content. We understand like this is going to work. We're going to test it. But now how do we get it in front of the right people? And looking at different platforms. And it's going to change, depending on the business and what they're trying to accomplish. But for us, it's like, where are we going to get the most eyeballs for the cheapest amount of spend, right?
Okay.
And right now, a big thing is, social media advertising. Everyone, for the most part, has a social media account.
Yep.
And so that's where we can get the most eyeballs. But there are other methods of marketing as well. A big thing right now is streaming. So being able to put your ad at your commercial during when someone's watching Hulu or Peacock or whatever it may be, right? So you've got your traditional ways. You've got your TV, radio, billboard, things like that, print advertising, right? And you've got your more like digital, like Google ads and social media marketing. And so really it just depends on what audience are you trying to go after and what's the message we're trying to put out there. And so we'll assess those platforms to see what's going to be the most effective. And for us, we like to test platforms, right? It's like, okay, let's use a blend of these and let's see what gets us the best results and then double down on that.
I love that. I think that's the key, right? Is just assessing it and making sure it's actually working. I think I see so many people out there, they just throw ads and I remember growing up in Utah and there was this one dealership. They had the same ad for like 10 years. They were still running the same ad. And I was like, what the? And then when we moved here, the same thing on a couple local companies. And it's like, wait, I saw that 10 years ago and they're still running the same thing. And
it's
I
like
don't know.
In a square format from, early 2000s or something.
Exactly. And I was like, wow, they didn't change anything up. They're just running the exact same ad they ran 10 years ago. And it can't be working.
And maybe it's working to an extent. I would hope so if they're continuing to spend money, but could it be working so much better if you reassessed it? Probably, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about changes in your industry and things like that, I know just algorithms, I mean, are changing like crazy.
Yeah.
These tech companies are changing the way that they do it, which is super smart because they're making it so that you're constantly having to, your dollar's not sitting. You're having to pull it and move it and it. But what are you seeing as far as change like AI? How does that help or change your industry and things that are going, and what you guys are doing? Because to me, it seems like there's all these special effects, but then sometimes you'll watch things on social media that's AI and you're just like, this is crazy.
Where you can almost barely tell that it's AI, right?
Right.
Yeah, AI is definitely changing the industry. And I think it's changing pretty much every industry out there, right? And I think it's something you just have to embrace. It's not going anywhere. It's not going backward. Like it's going to be here and it's going to get smarter and it's going to get better as time goes on. I mean, we've seen it's crazy to see where it was 2 years ago to where it is today, or even 6 months ago to where it is today, right? So we're embracing it completely.
Well, that will keep improving faster, right? It'll be at a faster rate. Like the changes will come faster and faster as AI gets better because it's changing itself essentially.
Yep. And I look at it as an opportunity, and I've got a minority business partner and my wife and some of our employees, and this is a complete opportunity for us because now with AI, like with a few good prompts, I can have a decent little video in 10, 15 minutes, right? Pump it out. However, what is it missing? Well, it's missing the soul of really what connects with people because it's just an AI generated video, right? So it's not, I think it presents an opportunity for where people can create more and more content, but that also presents an opportunity for us that we need to create content that stands out from that sea of AI generated content, right? So it makes our job harder in certain ways, more difficult in certain ways, but it also presents a completely new opportunity where it's like, okay, you can do AI content like every other business out there, but you're just going to blend in with them, right? If everyone's doing the same thing, you're just going to blend in. So why would they pay attention to yours when they're seeing it from everyone else? So what are we going to do to actually connect with your audience and stand out from that sea of AI content? So I think it presents an opportunity for sure to be more strategic with the content and really understand the audience better because now you have to, otherwise you're just going to blend in with everyone else and you're just going to waste your money. People are going to scroll right by.
It's going to look good, but it may not hit, may not resonate with anyone.
Yeah. And I've seen some great looking AI commercials. I think the other day I was looking at one, I think Coca-Cola put one together and it was cool, but it just lacked the soul, lacked the heart that you get from real people with, real life scenarios and things like that. And so I think it could be utilized in certain ways. And I think, I'm not saying like don't use AI, absolutely embrace it. But what do you need to do to stand out? Because if you're able to use it, so is everyone else out there, right? And so if you're just going to blend in with everyone, you're not going to win at the end of the day.
And if I understand with what you're saying that it has to have a touch. It has to have a touch from a human that, has a pulse that can, visualize what, another human that you want that ad to resonate with and to touch.
I mean, take your guys' industry, for example. Yes, you guys do things differently than other real estate groups. Sure. You have different methods. You're better at what you do. But, you know, if I were in the market for a new home, let's say, real estate is real estate. So I'm going to go with the company that I trust. I'm going to go with the people that I know, like,
True.
They're going to be honest with me. They're going to point me in the right direction. They're going to help me navigate this in the best way. It's not just about, oh, they do this cool, special, unique method. For me, it's just all about trust at the end of the day, right? I want to be able to trust you and know that I'm in good hands. So if you're just, let's say you're creating some AI content for your business, and it's just like a random AI generated real estate agent in a house shaking a hand with a potential customer, right? It's like, okay, you slap any logo of any real estate group on that and it works. So what are we going to do to show Morgan's face, to show Jason's face, to show the people on the team so we can build that trust? Well, you can't do that with AI content. That is going to be lacking, right? And so, and people already, especially, you know, millennials and younger, they can see that and they know like that is AI generated, and people don't want to support that because it's missing that personality. And I want to be able to work with clients and customers and businesses that resonate with me and connect with me. And AI content's not going to do that.
One of the reasons why we wanted to be Mario and Luigi is I felt like it built trust.
Absolutely.
There's not a better superpower duo.
I mean, this is my normal outfit.
Yeah. You just showed up and happened to be wearing the right thing.
Exactly.
It's good. I like it. I know, right? Yeah. Well, it's always the fact, right? People want people they trust, and they want people they like.
Yeah.
Those two things are going to drive business way more, especially in our industry, than anything else.
Yeah.
And so if they don't trust you and like you, then they're not going to use you.
Absolutely. Like that's
doesn't matter how great you are.
That's the key differentiator at the end of the day, right? It's like you can say you're better than another group at certain things and cool, but is that going to really be the reason people decide to work with you guys? Probably not. Right? Because everyone should be good at what they do, or else they shouldn't be in business, right? So
there's that
it's all about who do I trust the most? Who's going to take good care of me? That doesn't mean everything's always going to be perfect, but I know if something goes awry, Morgan's going to take good care of me and help me navigate that, right? And I know I can trust him, and he's not trying to just screw me over.
Yeah.
So, like 2 decades ago, when I got in the business, one of the our old brokers gave us a little like plaque thing, you know, put on your desk, and it said, "People buy people before they buy products and services." And it's kind of when you both talk about that, that's what it reminds me of till this day. And I think that will be what forever lives: is people buy people before they buy product and services.
Well, and I think with the rise of AI, that's going to be more important than ever, right? Like I think that you got to double down on that. People are buying people.
And I think that what's interesting is I think that people will also then sometimes make the mistake of buying price or convenience instead of people. And I think that it'll be interesting if that trend, how far that goes, right? I mean, we've been buying McDonald's for how long, and how often do they miss up the order? Or how often, you know what I mean? But we still go back.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's kind of an interesting thing if the convenience and that will be outweigh people.
Yeah.
You know, like and I don't think the people product is ever not going to be better than, you know, like it's always going to be superior to any other product that there is.
Yeah. Like if you have a bad reputation, you don't treat people well, you're dishonest, it doesn't matter how good you are at what you do, people aren't going to want to work with you.
Yeah.
Right?
It's going to catch up at some point.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Be good at what you do. Like that is important. Your relationship's only going to go so far. If you're not good at what you do, people are going to move on, right?
Yep.
But if you could be good at what you do, plus really be an honest person, someone people can trust, they know they're in good hands, you win every time that way.
Yeah, real estate's an interesting industry because there's so many agents out there, right? It's a really low bar to get in. I mean, there's like a fee, a few hours, and a test, and you're done, right? And you're in. And so since it's a low bar, there's so many agents out there that are brand new or that have been in the industry for years but only sell 1, 2, 3 houses a year.
Yeah.
And they may be great people, and people like them, so they continue to get business, but sometimes they're not putting their clients in the best position at all. And so, but the clients don't know that. They just hire who they like and trust. And so sometimes on our side, it gets a little bit frustrating when we see somebody go with one of these agents that doesn't really do a lot of business. And like, well, they're able to spend so much more time with me because of X. And it's like, well, the problem is they don't know the market. They sold one house 4 months ago. They don't really know what's going on right now. And they're not going to put their best interest first. I've seen so many clients on the other side of transactions lose out because their agent didn't know what they were doing, right? Or lose money.
So we see that all the time. And I've had conversations with people and I'm like, would you pick a doctor if they're just a nice guy, but they weren't a good doctor? And they're like, well, that's a little different than real estate. And I said, all right, well, would you go to a barber or would you go to a hairstylist if they were just a nice person, but they were a terrible barber or hairstylist? And I'm like, why do you go just always with the nice, And like what you're saying, that the barrier to entry, it's tricky because somebody doesn't know what they don't know. And they go with what they appear and they don't ask the right questions, right? And so some agent who really what they have is a heartbeat and a pen, they show up and they put on the front that they can do it and they can't. And it's interesting how real estate agents can fake that part so much. Yeah. It's just like the contractor that shows up to give you a bid to replace or finish your basement, but then you want to ask references for them. You know what I mean? It's just an interesting industry to be in.
For sure.
So that's where you've helped us stand out with our marketing and things like that it just pulls out what we've been doing and what we've been showcasing and our inside of that. We love our clients. We love our team, what we're doing, that then you can kind of help share that, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. And I think, you're going to see that in every industry where sometimes it's like, why are you working with them? Like they don't do a good job, right? You're going to be leaving so much money on the table or whatever it is, working with those guys.
Right.
And I think short term, those people might win, but long term, they won't. I think it's going to catch up to them at some point, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, it sucks in that moment to see that, but we've seen that where it's like, really, you're going to work, we're talking to a potential client and they go with someone else. It's like, oh, okay, interesting. And then 3-4 years down the road, that client comes to us, right? And so it's just like, do it the right way and it will pay off sooner or later, right?
Yeah, if you're doing everything you can to do your job well for your clients, it's going to show through. And if you really genuinely care about your clients, that's going to show through too as well. And in real estate, it's a little bit different because people buy, other things like you mentioned, a doctor or a hairstylist. You're going to a doctor annually or whatever you need to be, but then you're going to your hair, every month,
right,
or more. And so, but in real estate, you might buy 3 or 4 houses in your lifetime, right? Yeah. For a lot of people. And so it's a little bit different because they may do that. And some transactions do go through without a hiccup, but are there things you left on the table because you weren't working with someone that knew what they were doing? Or when things do hit the fan, then what are they going to do because they've never had a situation before?
Right.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And I think that's why it's so important from an advertising standpoint to be able to put yourself out there and be authentic so people can truly see who you are and establish that trust before, most people make decisions before they even come talk to you, right? They're gonna go look at your website. They're gonna look at your social media. They're gonna talk to other people, whatever it may be. And so the more you can put yourself out there to where it's like, okay, they seem like good people, I'm gonna give them a chance. You're going to win more that way. And so I think that's extremely important. And it's hard to tie an ROI to that kind of stuff, but it does work. Yeah. And not to say that's all you should be doing from a marketing standpoint. Yes, there are obviously things you want to be doing to grow your business and be looking at that as well. But that should always be part of the mix. What can we be doing to be authentic and really, establish this trust with our audience?
So from somebody that's grown their business substantially, working with people to grow their business, let's say that I don't know if just a small business, I don't want to use a lemonade stand because that's too small, but let's say a small business and you want to scale it and you want to grow and say you want to see, a 20% growth every single year. What advice would you give them? So let's do just advice in business wise, and then let's talk marketing of how you could, how Porter Pro can take them from there to there.
I think first off, you need to understand your business. Who are you and who are you advertising to? Who are you trying to connect with? You can't connect with everyone at the end of the day. Who is your ideal target customer, right? Who are they? What makes them tick? What are they interested in? I think you have to really understand who they are. So, take a small business, for example. It's like, I want anyone that's willing to pay. That's great. But if you're trying to talk to everyone, you're talking to no one, right?
True.
So we have to understand who are you at the core. So let's establish that. Now let's understand who is your audience. Who are you trying to talk to and what are you trying to say to them? What makes you unique as a business? Why should they choose you over your competitors, right? Why should they buy your product over someone else's product? Let's understand that. Let's dive into that. What are their pain points? How does your product or service solve those pain points, right? So really it's all about understanding who you are first and then understanding who you're talking to. You're going to fail every time if you don't have a good strategy. It always starts with strategy, right? We say we're content first, but before the content, we start shooting the content or start creating the content, we have a strategy going into it. What is this content supposed to do? What are we trying to accomplish? How do we gauge the success of it, right? Whether that's new customers, whether that's purchases, whether that's leads, brand awareness, whatever your goal is, we need to establish that. We need to understand that. And then, okay, how are we going to do that? And that's where it gets a little more difficult. Yep. It's all about testing. Like I said, what works for one person isn't going to work for you necessarily. You can learn from other people and take that and adapt it to your own thing, but test different messages, test different audiences, test different platforms, test, but test quickly, right? And understand this is working and this isn't, and this is working and this is why, and then really start doubling down on that. But at the end of the day, if you don't know who you're talking to and you don't know why your product or service should matter to them, they're not going to know that either, right? You have to live and breathe that. Otherwise, they're not going to understand, and it's just noise at that point. So for me, it's like that's a big part that most businesses are missing with their marketing strategy is literally the strategy behind it. It's like you can throw an ad on TV, you can throw an ad on social media, but if you don't know who you're talking to or why you matter, it's just not going to be effective, right? It's just noise. And there is so much noise out there. You're just going to blend in with everyone else. And so really starting with that and then building from there. Okay, now how do we connect with this audience? Is it a younger audience? Is it an older audience? Because what matters to those people is going to be completely different, right? And so we need to be able to speak to them as if I'm trying to make a new friend, right? And really speak their language, understand what's important to them, what their problems are, and how we solve those problems as a business. So that's a pretty basic response to what you're asking, but really for me, that's where it starts. Yeah. And there are so many easy, free ways you can do that. Like social media is free at the end of the day. Yes, there's a paid side of it. And when you have the revenue to justify that, great. It's a great approach, but get started somewhere. Put your face out there, put your message out there, educate people on your product or your service, talk to people, listen to people, and learn from that. And then when you really understand, now put some advertising dollars behind it because you're spending it, in an effective manner because you know what you're doing and who you're talking to.
So one thing I picked up on that, and I hope that I can relay this as it's in my brain, so it's probably not going to go very well. But that being said, when you say like who's your target and how you're marketing it, right? So as real estate agents, we do a lot of reels or we do a lot of videos or we do a lot of things like that, right? And so our idea is these, they're going to think this is funny, right? Yeah. Or they're going to like this, right? Or they're going to, this is going to have shock factor for them. And when I think of that, I'm like, we have to be careful of who's them, who's they're going to think it's funny. Because if it's like, political, I mean, right there, you're cut in half. If it's racy, then you're already cutting into, you're honing in or you're focusing in on a smaller demographic versus, a bigger demographic.
Morgan does a lot of racy videos, apparently.
He's asking for permission to post them.
Yeah. Do you have the shower scene that we can do one of those?
I was holding on to that for the right time.
But But with that, you know, like instead of professional and what people want to see out of a real estate agent would be, not everybody needs a real estate agent, but the 70% of, say, people who need to, you could focus on that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Is that kind of, I guess, what you're saying? Hopefully that came out.
Even understanding beyond just that, it's like, okay, you need real estate. That's great. You know, that's a start. But who within that, it's like, who is that person, right? And building those personas around that. So one thing we like to do with businesses is build those personas. It's like, okay, we've got worker Wendy, and she's busy. She has a professional job, but she has kids at home. And for her, valuable time matters with her family, like just really understanding who they are. And it's like, okay, so what matters to Wendy and how am I going to talk to her, right? Because what works for Wendy, who's one of my personas, won't necessarily work for Bill, right? Because things are different for him, and maybe he's, you know, an empty nester. And so it's like family time at home isn't what's important to him anymore. It's valuable time with a spouse or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Just really understanding those personas within that. It's not just like, hey, 70% of the market is needing help with real estate. It's like, okay, but who within that are the people that you guys want to work with, and who are they?
I like that.
I think just in talking is obviously you're passionate about finding out what they need, right? And I think that's what's really set you guys apart and why you guys do so well is because you don't go to your clients. Your client says, oh, I want to film this ad, and you do it and move on. Yeah. It's like, well, first, is that ad really going to resonate with people? Well, let's find out who you want to reach, what you want to do. And maybe that ad works, maybe it doesn't. But I think that's probably what sets you apart from a lot of these people is you're going in and trying to find that out ahead of time.
And, you know, starting on day one, we didn't know those things, right? And it was just like, hey, for us was like, you want marketing? We can help you with that, right? But it's like anyone that's willing to market their business, we'll work with you. That's not the case anymore, right? Yeah. We refer businesses out to other people if it's not a good fit because we know the type of businesses we want to work with. It's not just about, hey, I need help with marketing. It's who are you as a business and what are you trying to accomplish? And if it aligns with us, great, we're a good fit. If not, that's okay. And we know other people that maybe you align better with their style of doing things, right?
Yeah.
So and that's what I go back to. It's like, it's got to be more than just, oh, I'm in the real estate market or, oh, I need help with marketing.
Right.
It's what people within that are the ones that we excel with. And let's speak to them specifically.
Yeah.
And yeah, other people are going to trickle in, but if you're really talking to the right audience, you're aligning yourself with the people you want to work with and that are going to help you grow beyond where you're at now.
Yeah, then you're really truly helping that business versus putting a few ads out, maybe getting a little more drive and a little bit more business, but not truly helping that business achieve what they want to achieve.
Exactly. And I think that's what goes back to like we work with passionate businesses that understand those things and are willing to really dive into it and understand like what are we trying to accomplish as a company? What's our 5-year growth plan? Who are we trying to talk to? And now let's dive into how we do that, right?
Yeah.
And that can be difficult. Like I said, you know, a brand new business probably isn't going to know those things. They can guess, but they're going to learn over time. For us, it's taken 8, 9, 10 years to really understand that, right? And, you know, we've produced well over 5,000 videos now, over 1 billion views on our videos across platforms. So it's like we have learned these things work, these things don't. And that's why it's like someone comes to us with an idea and it's like, okay, I like the direction of this, but here are a few things we need to think about because we've learned over time, like, if you do this, it's going to probably fall flat, right? Yep. And so we've been able to take our expertise and take their idea. Sometimes clients come to us with a very specific idea and it's like, awesome, we can run with that, but let's modify it a little bit, right? To make sure it works. Other times they just say, hey, I don't know what I need. Here's my problem. Come up with a solution and we'll completely like from start to finish, come up with a plan for them, right? So, but to do that, you got to feel confident with what you're doing and know what works. And for you guys, it's like, you know, the first time you sold a house, like you have a lot more knowledge now than you did then, right? And so you can really help people navigate it the right way versus just like, all right, let's just look around and find something that hopefully fits, right?
But we also have done a lot of things wrong, right?
Yes.
Like what you're
That's
saying.
how you learn.
And
so have we. It's like, I've put out
knows what's not going to work.
I've put out campaigns where I'm like, this is going to be a hit. And then it falls flat. And it's just like, wait, what? Why? Yeah. You know? And it's been a good learning opportunity to where it's like, just because I think it's good doesn't mean the audience is going to think it's good. So I try to separate myself out of it. It's like, I think this is cool, but is our target audience going to feel the same way? If I'm not part of that target audience, then my opinion doesn't matter that much, right? their opinion is what matters. And so let's put ourselves in their shoes and build it around what they want to see, not what I personally want to see.
That's awesome. I think that's just in life in general, right? It's like if you're genuinely going to try to help somebody else, I mean, you'll end up benefiting from it, but then they know you're genuine and they want to come through. They want to do business with you in any business, right? I mean, I think that's learning. I mean, marketing, it's obviously essential, but I think in everything, I mean, that's what people want. They want that genuine person that actually cares about them to move forward.
Absolutely.
I think that's where, like you had mentioned AI, that's where AI and some of those lack a little bit is it doesn't really care. It's just an algorithm. It just spits out whatever you ask it, right? So
it's a machine, right?
Yeah,
and it only knows the information that's out there.
Yeah.
And it misses all that nuance that exists within human beings, right? Yeah. And it's not going to understand those things. It misses the nuance of, you know, a person that lives in Idaho Falls is very different than a person that lives in Las Vegas, and the things that matter to them are completely different, right?
Yep.
And it's just taking an aggregate of everything that's out there and saying, here's what you need. But that's not always true, right? And it might be somewhat right, but it's not completely right. Yep. I look at AI as it's a tool, it's an asset. It's like, it's been super helpful for me. Sometimes I'll just, you know, I'll spit out everything that's in my brain and say, make sense of this and organize this for me. And it saves me 45 minutes to an hour by not, I don't have to dive into that and organize it and make sense of it. It's like, that just gave me an hour back. What can I spend this time doing now that's going to be more effective to help me grow my business, right? And so I'm embracing it every possible way I can, but also understand it's not going to solve every problem. And there's still humans needed at the end of the day to make these things happen.
Yeah. Love that.
Well, I mean, I appreciate everything that you've done. I mean, not just your friendship, obviously, but I mean, everything you've done for our team. Also this podcast, I mean, Porter Pro is awesome. They've helped us with the podcast room. They helped us with all of our marketing. They help us with, you know, all of the funny videos, also marketing, but everything that we have going, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. And, I mean, I see it moving the needle, you know, in our business. We get a lot of comments on it. My biggest critics is my children. And
always
16, 12, and 10, and they think that their opinions are the most valid. And it's interesting to see the compliments or the likes or the things that they tell me also from it. Mm-hmm. And so, but anyway, I appreciate your guys' professionalism and everything across the board.
Absolutely. It's been really good, and your team's great. And I just echo that we do really feel that they're trying to do things for our best interest. When they're correcting us or we're saying the same line 20 times or whatever it is, it's always in there. They're always in that ready to help out, wanting us to really connect with our audience, which is great. Which is really, that's what you want to happen, is you want our personalities not to come out, right? And you guys have been really good with that. So I appreciate that.
Well, you guys make our job easy for sure. And we appreciate that. Like I said, you know, we're pretty selective with who we work with, and we want to work with people that are doing it right and truly are good at what they do, but maybe just aren't putting that out there for people to see, right? It's like, you have everything. It's not like we're trying to make things up with our marketing where it's like, we're good at what we do, but in reality, you're not, right?
Yeah.
We want to align ourselves with businesses that are excellent at what they do. They just struggle putting their message out there and amplifying that, right? And then for us, like, you guys are awesome at what you do. And I've had personal experience, right, from the real estate side working with your team, and everyone's great. Everyone's awesome. I trust everyone. I know no matter who I'm working with on the Greider Peterson team, whether it's you guys directly or, you know, some of your agents, I'm in good hands. I don't even have to worry about it. And I've seen that firsthand. So congrats to you guys as well. You guys are running an awesome business, and it's just going to keep growing from here for sure.
Well, awesome, man. We appreciate it. And thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.